Hello and welcome back to our Minecraft Let's Build series. Today I want to do something a bit different. I'm going to kind of show you what the build for today looked like, or what last week looked like. We finished Cerulean City, we finished this little route up here, and we did this terrible route full of walls, and we put down the ground in Lavender Town. The rest of the video is going to be a time lapse of me doing this and explaining what I want to do as I go along. Since we're shifting towards more of a construction mode instead of a creating textures mode, I want to focus more on time lapses, so I'm going to work on making those, making them high quality. Right now they probably kind of suck, but you got to start somewhere, right? So that's it for this part of the video. Let's turn on the time lapse. So here we begin with Cerulean City. It looks like right now I am placing that house in the top right. At first I placed it incorrectly. I used a 3 width house, which was about 12 blocks, but I realized I needed a different size. Now I'm placing the next house over. I copy a house at the door, so I remove the door, makes it a lot easier. I think right now I'm just pushing a bunch of things in the ground, placing white spaces correctly. Yeah. After I create those two houses, I move on to the flower bed in the garden of those two houses. I spent a while trying to decide if I wanted to leave it open, like in Gold and Silver, where a path comes in from the left, or if I wanted to close it off like it is in Red and Blue. I decided to just leave it like it is in Red and Blue, since I think most of the gameplay features I want to leave Red and Blue wise, even though I'm copying most of the tiles from Gold Silver. And now I'm going around and removing the double blocks from the various bushes. I still believe that it might look better with each of those barriers, like the walls, the pillars, the trees, being 2 by 2 instead of 1 by 1. I might actually go around to everything and replace them at some point. But for now, I like it this way, and I can use cobblestone walls, which makes it very easy to do. That was just me finishing up some flowers, not very exciting. Now we move on to the route. I believe it's Route 25, the last route. I don't know why they put the last route up at the top here, but I guess they did. These walls are just the best to make. I need to find a better way to do them because it's really time consuming to go through and place all those stair blocks in the correct orientation. Most of the time I just place one set and then stack them. As you can see, it's just going to kind of autofill magically. And now we're going to put this little island mountain off in the middle of nowhere. I'm still deciding if I want to keep the height of these mountains as like completely flat, just 2 blocks up flat, because that's what it looks like in the game. Even though I think it might look cooler if I layer them a bit and have like multiple levels like going up so it actually looks like a mountain and not just like a random hill. But it is all symbolic of like the actual game, so I think for now I'm going to leave everything as close to the game as possible, and then once I finish I'll release that world, and then we can move on from there to enhancing it, right? So we can fill in all the pieces in the middle that are empty because there's nothing in the game that shows us what it actually looks like. We can maybe modify some of the mountains to be more interesting. So far, the only real creative thing I've done that isn't just copy-paste, I guess, from the games is those tunnel entrances where I add an extra little bit on top, because otherwise it just looks completely dumb. But we might be adding more stuff like that to give it a bit more texture. But I want to wait until the end, until I do that kind of stuff. Now we're finishing up this route. I don't know if it's already happened. Yes, it already happened. So when I was placing this bridge, turned out I was 2 off, so that spent about like 10 minutes trying to measure out what I did wrong, and ended up fixing that. We're placing some more flowers. We are placing a tree down, but we can't figure out where it goes because turning 2 by 2 blocks into 1 by 1 ends up being kind of confusing after a certain point. And now we're placing this little maze down, right? And this is one of the reasons why I want to replace all these one by one representations of a tree into 2 by 2. Because in these sections I end up having to go around and remove them all, and it looks a bit off, I suppose. So I'm thinking I might end up replacing the walls at some point. But that would kind of suck to go around and fix it all. We'll see. Now I replace Bill's little house around the, I think it's like Lover's Point or Lover's Cove or something. Honeymoon Cove? I don't remember. They gave it a name in the second version. And Misty wanted to go there with her boyfriend. I don't know what happened right there. It always glitches out when I paste the house. It's really weird. The recording glitches out. In the game it was fine. But we copied that house. It's actually Red's house. We just kind of copy pasted it. And that's it for this one. We can zoom out and then move on to the second video that I did. And now we're on part 2. So this part I created the next day. And once again, we get the joy of placing walls. Just hundreds and hundreds of wall blocks. My thought when I first started was that I'd do all the walls first and then go around and put in the details later. But I tried and it was the most horrible experience of my life. Not really. But I didn't enjoy doing it. So I'm just doing them one chunk at a time to kind of space out the awfulness of placing walls. And this goes on for a while, just all these weird zigzaggy caves. I'm getting a bit more efficient at it with copy pasting the right pieces and stacking them more efficiently. Is there another word for efficiency? I don't know. Anyway, now we're going to place the little river that goes along the side. All the clay and stuff. We placed some grass. I measured it wrong, so I had to double the size. I still haven't made the texture for andesite yet, which is what I want to use for the ground that's going to be in front of the power plant, along with in front the ground that makes up Pewter City. Pokemon Center, just copy paste it like I do with all the other ones. Again with the little cave mouth. It's not too interesting right now since we're mostly just making routes, but I do like how it all comes together and fits so nicely. All the pixels just match up exactly. Oh, it makes me so happy. And now we place some grass. This part where I am doing, there's a lot of like mazes, these routes. This one wasn't as bad as I thought because it turns out those center blocks, I could just take one of them and they're all almost the same size and I could just copy paste one of them to like 5 different places. Here's me laying out where they're going to go and which ones connect to walls and which ones don't. Wasn't too hard. I made a couple mistakes, but was able to fix them. And then after I finish up here, with the walls, I start placing in all those fun little ledges. But before I do that, I place the ledges first. And then I place some grass at some point. I'm thinking that this area is so boring, you know, that I would prefer to have NPCs in the game. But we'll see when we get there. Now we go at the exit of Rock Tunnel right before you get into Lavender Town. This wasn't that bad. I was able to just steal all the walls from what I just made. It's mostly just walls at this point. So many walls. The issue is though, and here's what's going to happen. You might notice in about, 10 seconds that nothing happens on screen. And although it may look like nothing's happening on screen, in fact, I am having a heart attack. Because if you look at the entrance to Lavender Town, it turns out that there are 6 blocks making up that little wall piece. And I need 8 blocks. So that means I'm 2 blocks off. And you'll see it right here. Nothing's going to happen for a while. Because I spend about 20 minutes freaking out that I've made the entire map wrong and that there's no hope left and I can just give up. But luckily, I find about 30 blocks down I miscounted. And I can just shift everything over to and it only affects the one route and not the entire map, and I don't have to redo everything, which I am very happy about. But it was a little wake me up to start paying attention to what I was doing and not fall asleep, which I was almost doing when I was doing these parts. But that's this section. I'm going to be working on Lavender Town next in my next stream tonight. And then after that, we'll see if we're going to the east, or by east I mean west, or the south. This looks pretty good once I finish. And that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for stopping by. Let me know if this format is better. I think it'll be interesting once I can get the quality better. I think the quality's look really bad, but who knows? All right, peace.